everyone, thank you for stopping by my channel today. It's time for favorites. January's over. We're all really surprised. Where is the year gone? Before we know it, it's going to be Christmas, blah, blah, blah. We all kind of feel the same way because really, where was January? Where did it go? So I feel like I've been doing a lot of favorites lately. I had done the best top 15 of 2015. I had also done an empties video, beauty edition, which turned out to be a lot of my favorites. I will link both of those videos down below. But this month's favorites for January will strictly be nothing that I've used up, nothing that was a top of last year, just stuff that I've really been liking lately. By the way, if you like favorites videos, then give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. But if you haven't already subscribed, then please do so because that would really help me out. So enough chit chat. If you want to find out what I've been loving in the month of January, then let's get started. So the drugstore released some new foundations. They're both different from each other, and I'm actually really surprised that I like them. Actually, kind of a lot of my favorites were very surprising for me. Let me talk about the one I like a little bit more. This one's by Maybelline. This is their Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. Again, sounds like an oxymoron. It's matte, but it's hydrating. It actually is. I've talked before about the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. That really is mattifying, and it is amazing. But if my skin is, for whatever reason, a little bit sensitive that day, sometimes I feel like that foundation just stings a little bit. And I think it's because of the mattifying properties. This foundation is uber comfortable to wear. It actually is kind of like a mousse, which is kind of interesting. Like literally like mousse. Like it could almost be like chocolate mousse. I mean, it just comes out, it's real creamy. It's actually a little bit thick, which scared me initially, but it spreads so lovely and does an amazing job of providing coverage. It doesn't indicate that it's, you know, light or full coverage. It is very buildable, and maybe that's why they didn't even bother to say. But I've been using it almost basically every day because it keeps me mattified without making me look flat and just feels really nice with really good coverage. Plus, it's from the drugstore, so it's really, really affordable. I am in the shade 40, which is Nude. And actually, I'm like so proud of myself because I picked up only one shade and it turns out that it was mine. That like never happens. They don't have a wide variety of shades, so that's kind of gonna be trouble for many. But if you can find a shade that fits you, get it because it's lovely. The other foundation that I've been loving from the drugstore is by L'Oreal. It's the True Match Lumi Cushion Foundation that comes in this tiny little tub, which I love. I mean, for travel, it's kind of genius because you're not dealing with potentially a glass bottle that can kind of get all over the place. It's really tight in there. I can't get it out. So this is the idea where you access the foundation through a sponge or a cushion. And I actually really like the concept because it deposits just a little bit of product on your brush depending on how hard you push, but it also disperses the product on your brush or your beauty blender, whichever you choose to use, so that you're not creating concentrated dots of foundation on your face. It's a little bit more dispersed basically because you've got a wider area where you're getting your foundation from. I didn't think I would like it because it's the Lumi line, which is short for Luminous, and with my oily skin, that isn't really something that's appealing to me. Turns out it's not really all that luminous in that I've got oily skin and it works out really lovely. I do absolutely have to set it with a setting powder, even a little bit more strongly than I would normally. Like with the Maybelline one, I don't really have to set as much, just kind of a light dusting. With the Lumi cushion, I do have to set it quite a bit. It's definitely lighter coverage, and can get a little streaky if you're not careful in your application, so something to look for when you're applying it. But you know, I kind of use it on those days where I don't really want a lot of coverage or a lot of foundation, or maybe I'm just running errands and I don't really care. And it winds up just being really good for that. I also managed to find my shade pretty quickly, which I'm like 2 for 2 with that because that like never happens for me. I've been loving some individual shadows from Anastasia, Beverly Hills. She makes amazing shadows, all of those good fine points, creamy, highly pigmented, blends very nicely. Otherwise, I wouldn't buy any. So they're $12 a piece if you buy 4 at a time. You get them for 40 bucks and then you get this complimentary little palette to stick them in. I basically went for browns and purples, which is kind of my thing, I suppose. So I got 2 brown ones, a light and a dark. The lighter one being Fawn, which has been out for a little while actually, but the darker one being Fudge, which I believe, is that part of her new release? I'm not sure. But regardless, Fawn and Fudge have been really favorite shadows of mine. I like using Fawn in my crease to kind of deepen it up a little bit on top of or in addition to a really good transition shade in the crease there. And Fudge is just great to use in your outer corner. I also got 2 purples, one of them being dark and the other one being light. The light one being called Plum Smoke and the dark one being called Aubergine. I don't even know what that means. Is that supposed to mean something or is that just like a fancy name? Is it a place? Might be a place. Aubergine. I like the way it sounds. I love when creators come up with really good names for their stuff. Anyway, Plum Smoke being kind of a purpley gray and Aubergine being just a really deep, intense purple. It's more like a satin. I don't know how she describes it, but it's not flashy or glittery, but it's not 100% matte either. And I've kind of been using all 4 of these colors to design a variety of eye looks throughout January. I picked up from Makeup Forever my very first bronzer of theirs. It's the Pro Bronze Fusion, which comes in this really cool, like deep copper bronzy shaded compact. It's an interesting sort of compact because it's not entirely a powder either, I feel like. It doesn't say that in any of the description, but I kind of feel like it's those L'Oreal eyeshadows which are basically powder, but they've got this like just kind of jelliness to them. And so with this bronzer, first of all, I love this bronzer because it is definitely buildable. And it's buildable because, which I hate over applying bronzer. I cannot stand that. It looks like you just applied mud or dirt to your face. It's buildable because of this kind of essence of not being 100% powder. And so I wind up having to use a pretty stiff brush in order to gather enough product to be able to apply it. I love using the Morphe E4 brush, which is their angled, I think this might be blush or contour brush, I don't know what they call it. But I used to be using just kind of a soft all over bronzing brush, and I just found that it kind of wasn't picking up enough product because I think the product itself is just, I think the product has attitude. You really have to go for it in order to get anything from it, which actually I kind of like. So by using a slightly stiffer brush, I'm still able to pick up enough product, but not too much because it really does totally make it very, very buildable. And especially in the middle of winter where you don't want to look like you're overdoing it, or it's like people will be jealous because they think you've gone on vacation and you're like, no, really, I've been here the whole time. I have a couple of products from Hourglass and I'm so frustrated because I don't know why I like them, but I do. And I'm really kind of fighting with myself going, no, you're not supposed to like these. And I do. And I actually super like them. What am I talking about? The first one, and this came out a little while ago, but I've been using it quite a bit more recently because it is a little bit lighter in color and we are in the middle of winter. This is the Ambient Lighting Bronzer Luminous Bronze Light. So right there in the name, it makes me not want to like it. It is a luminous bronzer and it's kind of marbled so that there's the kind of bronze shade and then a slightly lighter shade similar to their ambient lighting powders, which I love because that's what you want in those ambient lighting powders. You want just a hint of shimmer, and it is the perfect amount of shimmer or sheen even to just give your face just the hint of reflection so you don't look completely flat. But in a bronzer, I want my bronzer to be matte. And yet, even though it says that this is luminous, when I wear it, it looks so great and doesn't really look like it's reflective or sheeny or anything. And I just keep putting it on and like daring it. Like, okay, today's the day where I'm actually going to notice who you really are, who you truly are, and I'm not going to like you. And it's not happening. And so I don't know why, but I really, really like it, even though even in the pan, I can see little specks of extra shimmer. And I'm like, no, bronzer should be matte. And apparently I am breaking all the rules because it turns out that this Luminous Bronze Light by Hourglass is actually pretty freaking fabulous. Also by Hourglass, they recently came out with their strobing light powders. Let me get their actual name. strobe light. Ambient strobe lighting powders. So even though their ambient lighting powders can be used as highlighters, they decided to come out with something that they believe to be a little bit more intense because they called it strobe. I mean, doesn't that just scream reflection and highlight? So I saw that it was getting really good reviews, and so I ordered 2 shades. I got Brilliant, which was the more popular one, which is kind of a yellow goldish highlighting powder. And then I also got Euphoric, which has a slightly peach tint to it, peachy pink tint to it. And I was really excited to get them because I love the original ambient lighting powders. And they show up and they're like what appears to be loaded with glitter. I could see little flecks of sparkle. Not really glitter, sparkle would be a better word. And I'm like, oh man, is that what you decided would make it strobing? And when I use it, there is no evidence of the sparkle anywhere. There is just a slightly intensified, but still kind of subtle highlighter. It's an amped up ambient lighting powder. And every time I open it, I'm like, it's like I talk to it again and I'm like, okay, no, today's gonna be the day. You are gonna reveal your true colors and I'm gonna hit the light in just a way that I'm going to glisten like the vampires do when they are in the sun, like from Twilight, right? Oh my God, Twilight, that feels like forever ago. But when Edward would step into the sun, he glittered like diamonds. Well, that was kind of what I was picturing was going to happen on my cheekbones, and it hasn't happened. And now they've even made it into a favorites video, so I don't know. Who could tell anymore? I've got some lipsticks that I've been loving. Apparently right now I'm into a very purple gray mode. I don't know, maybe it's because it has to do with the winter and the gray skies. I've been loving by ColourPop their Lippie sticks. I've been loving Tootsi. Tootsi is just, I love the name, first of all. Tootsi is a purple with a little bit of pink, some brown to kind of dumb it down. I don't know. It's actually what I'm wearing right now. And Lippie sticks are just so comfortable to wear. And so with all of the liquid lipsticks, I mean, your lips take a beating and it's almost like you can't moisturize them enough. So Lippie sticks, I had forgotten just how comfortable they were. And the other lipstick that I've been liking is by Lorac, and it is an amazing shade. I mean, you kind of think to yourself, can I have too many lipsticks? And really the answer is no. But sometimes you're like, okay, really, I have 48 of those berry shades already, so maybe I'll pass on that one. What caught my eye about this color is that it's just so different. The name of the color is Goddess, and it's like a muted purple. This is Tootsi right here, and then this is Goddess right here. And it just, I don't know. I'm just kind of liking, I'm not sure it'll work in the middle of summer, but right now when the weather allows it, I'm just going for these kind of purpley, like I said, these purpley with a hint of like gray almost in them. Oh, they're just fabulous. This lipstick, by the way, by Lorac is really it actually is very highly pigmented and it's really creamy, also comfortable to wear during a time where my lips are like screaming at me and I don't necessarily, well, I want to put on a matte lipstick, but my lips are saying, no, 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 not just yet, not just yet. I'm gonna close this favorites video with just a couple random things. I kind of feel like when I found this product, I kind of feel like it indicated I was living like in a black hole. Because I'm like, how did I not know they made that? I got a brush cleaner. Oh my gosh. I mean, okay, true confession. I mean, I would like use a screwdriver to get, especially in the rounded brushes, like a clean screwdriver, but like a screwdriver to kind of scrape the hair out of it. Ew. I hate hair, first of all. Any hair, once it is not connected to your head, just completely skeeves me out. That being said, I wanted to clean my brushes and my hairstylist told me about this brush cleaner which has a finer end and then kind of a looser end on the other side. And you basically just, why don't I have a brush right now? Okay, honestly, like the thought of actually using a brush here to demonstrate my hair removal to you just sounded and felt like that was intensely gross and disgusting. So we don't really need to put that on display right now, but you can picture how you would take your brush and you just rake this down the edge of the brush, and it ever so gently and easily pulls out all of the hair that has now gotten stuck in your brush. My world has changed now that I can regularly and consistently clean out my brushes. The last thing I have is for your headphones. It's called the Nest, and I got it on Amazon. It's a silicone wraparound for your headphones, because you can have the tiniest, cutest little zipper pouch case or whatever. I mean, I have a million of them and I love them, but they do not prevent your headphones from getting tangled, and I cannot stand that. So the way that it works is you take your little earbud portion and you stuff it into the center. Kind of looks like a little pinwheel, and that's where you actually get to protect the earbuds that go into your ears. And so now they're sitting in there, and you're just gonna wrap it around. Then you take the fold over lip that's at the back and you just pop it over. And now your headphones are protected inside the tiny little nest. That was incredibly hard to demonstrate. What are some of your favorites this past month? Please leave those in the comment section below, because I would be really curious to find out. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a really good rest of the day. And in the meantime, thanks.
Forgot to get my baby wipe, and now it looks like I've got a tiny turd sitting on the edge of my fingertip. That's fabulous. It's time for favorites again, because basically the months are only 30 days long. No, God. I'm not sure anybody knew that. Why don't we talk about what the calendar is like? But a screwdriver, in order to kind of stab the hair off of the brush. Ew, 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 ew.